Among Us has blown up from Twitch and YouTube to bad memes on Twitter. There's a period of time you just could not escape from Among Us content, and I anticipate that with the release of Airship coming up, it's probably going to be like that again. Project Winter has seen some of its own success, though not even close to the virality of Among Us. Project Winter content isn't really that hard to find, and I'm sure you've seen some of your favorite creators playing it, though it doesn't seem to hold the same popularity. So with every game that's somewhat similar, we must compare them because otherwise I wouldn't have any good content ideas. First, let's talk broadly about deception games, and I'm sure you've played a few of them: Mafia, Werewolf, Secret Hitler, Trouble in Terrorist Town, Bang, Saboteur, Coup. These are all great games that do pretty much the same thing but just have different gameplay loops. A deception game boils down to everyone is working towards a common goal, but there's one or two people in the group who are trying to stop you. In some games, when you figure out who's trying to stop you, the game either ends immediately or shortly with a victory for the innocent players. Games that are like this would be Among Us, Mafia, Secret Hitler. It kind of just wraps up the game as soon as you're outed, just because now that the innocent players know who you are, all they have to do is just use the game's mechanics, such as voting, to get you out. In some games, outing the imposters will make it difficult for them going forward, but it doesn't immediately spell an end for the session. This means that you don't have to be the best at hiding it if you're good enough at the game to make an impact anyway. Though depending on how early you are revealed, it can be close to hopeless. Project Winter, Bang, Trouble in Terrorist Town, these games are designed so that you can fight back from any position, whether you're innocent or not. And while I have a preference of being able to fight back after I've been revealed, that doesn't have anything to do with whether or not the game is any good. Among Us games are a very sessionable length with 3 maps and another one on the way. One of the biggest issues is that even though you can change the rules to mix things up, make things harder for either side, the gameplay does not scale well with how many players are in the game. Map size variation can help with this, however, depending on your group size, maps easily become too big without 9 to 10 people. Not that it really matters anyways, because the game becomes too difficult to play without enough people to fill out your lobby, to the point where you're forced to run single imposter games unless you have 8 players. Since any fewer players, the imposters don't really need that many kills to win, and that problem is really exacerbated on bigger maps. That aside, 3 maps with the same few tasks to do each time gets very stale and is a big reason for the dip in viewership and average players in the last few months. The beauty of Among Us comes from its accessibility and simplicity. Being free on mobile app stores and just $4.99 on Steam, combined with upcoming console releases, all of which include crossplay. This game has the ability for you to download it on any device that you want and be able to play it anywhere in the world that you can get internet, so anywhere Cox Cable isn't. Among Us itself is not a fun game. It's the experiences killing and gaslighting your friends that make it fun. I don't find the core gameplay to be all that interesting. A symptom of that, however, is that it's very, very easy to learn. You don't need to be a gamer or have any extra peripherals to take part. Obviously, the game is better with voice chat, but because meetings are essentially a pause in gameplay, typing isn't really all that bad. I used to play StarCraft 2 Mafia, and you can usually get your point across in just a couple of lines of text. On the other hand, a Project Winter game could be short if everyone just starts swinging at each other. That's not really a good strategy for anybody. So generally, the traders will pace their strategy to the length of the game, which can be adjusted in the settings, especially since you may not even need to kill anyone and the survivors could fail. Because of blizzards, wild animals, not getting the task done in time, there's a lot of ways that you can impede the progress of the survivors. And with the ability to customize how long the timer is, what escape tasks are available, and what roles could possibly show up, if any, Project Winter is incredibly flexible. And you can play with as few as 5 people. 4 would probably be pushing it, but my group and I played with 5 for just a few sessions, and it really isn't that much harder or easier for the traders, since the difficulty of the tasks scale to how many people and the length of the match. Being the only trader in a group of 5 is just about as hard as being 2 traders in a group of 7 or 8. The maps in Project Winter are interchangeable tile sets and procedurally generated, and the animals, bunkers, and trader crates, items within those bunkers and trader crates are all random as well. This ensures that your experience of the game is going to be very different every single time, whereas with Among Us, it's kind of just a question of what map you play on, and if you're imposter or not, and if you're not, what task do you get? That said, I wouldn't really consider the gameplay of Project Winter that fun either. Again, it's the experiences that you make with your friends. Though I would argue that Project Winter is a game that requires collaboration, where Among Us just encourages it. Hear me out here. In Among Us, you can vote random people, and you have a decent chance of still winning the game. In Project Winter, you have to communicate with each other and complete the objectives, otherwise you're all gonna die in a blizzard. And maybe this take is just a little bit too derivative, but it's true. Project Winter is $20, a steep increase from the free or $4.99 of Among Us. And it's significantly less accessible. This isn't a game that can be easily played on mobile, and the difficulty really ramps up for the layman when you introduce wolves, bears, and blizzards. This is a game for real gamers who play real games. Project Winter also has the Blackout DLC, which I've never played because the base game actually has so much content that my friends and I haven't even gotten there yet, but just Just looking at the roles that the traders have, it looks pretty insane. From its release in November 2018 until May 2019, Among Us had less than 10 players on average, with less than 30 unique players on Steam. And while it would steadily increase over the next few months, it wasn't really until July and August of 2020 that it would break into the thousands and tens of thousands. But it wasn't until September and October that it would really take off, seeing 6 figures of average players. The game has since died down, but maintains a 5-figure average. Note that this doesn't even include mobile, where the game is free and includes 264 million downloads worldwide in 2020, the most downloaded game across all app stores. Now, Project Winter wouldn't show up until February 2019, and would get the DLC Blackout in October of 2019, but it still wasn't able to maintain an average player base more than 3 digits until a massive spike up to 40,000 in April 2020, but then died back down, hovering between the thousands and high hundreds. The game is now available on Xbox Game Pass as of January 2021, however, and has releases planned for both Switch and PlayStation. Among Us has one huge advantage when it comes to staying power. The gameplay might get stale, but there are a few modders out there who are making some really awesome additions to the game. Some of these mods fundamentally change the way the game is played, such as proximity chat, placeable vents, and mafia role mods that introduce things like Jester and Sheriff. Among Us, or at least Among Us content, has nearly limitless longevity when you get mods involved, and is limited only to the creativity and technical ability of the modders, as well as how long the Inner Sloth devs are available to keep supporting the game and its servers. Project Winter has plans to enter the Steam Workshop, but until then we can only guess what the community can do to make it more interesting. Project Winter is significantly more expensive than Among Us at $20, though it offers far more in terms of content and gameplay. Among Us, however, is considerably more accessible than Project Winter is. And while the longevity provided by mods can only be taken advantage of by PC players for the moment, the upcoming release of the airship map, whatever early 2021 means, will inject a boost back into the game that it lost. And while I think most people will struggle to find 15 other people to play with, more variation is good for Among Us because clearly it's lacking in it. The future of Project Winter looks very bright as well. With plans for more map tiles, more game modes, Steam Workshop integration, a game with tons of content looks to be gaining more and more as time goes on and becomes accessible on all consoles. So, is Project Winter better than Among Us? What, are you kidding me? This is a game for real gamers. This is for babies.